Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfeld and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at the XG documentary series XTRA episode 1. Now this is a intro specifically made for the video that's already been reviewed. It has been about 2 years at this point since I watched this documentary, and so I wanted to provide just more of a updated intro before you see 2023 JESS take a look through the docu-series. I really resonated with a lot of it, and I'm really thankful that I took the time to watch it alongside you guys to help me better understand the group that we know and love today. So I'm ready. I hope you guys are. Let's watch. Ooh, we got some TRX straps.
流行生の、結果を皆さんに一人一人に伝えて、全部今終わりました。みんなでこう話し合う時間を取りたくて、まずはその今日結果が残念だったメンバーに意思を聞いて、話したいっていうことだったんで、ちょっと集合しました。なんで、みんなで話してください。僕は席外すんで。はい、そういうことです。はい、お願いします。
でもずっと考えたんじゃないですか。ずっと考えて、いよいよそろそろ決めなきゃってなって4ヶ月経ちましたね。こういった経験が私にまだ一度もなかったんで、多分そういう経験値のないそういう多分悩みだと思うんですけど、でも何ですか、自分自身こうなんかずっとこれでいいんだっていう、こういうやり方でいいんだっていう、そんぐらい考えるべきだし、そういうなんかいい意味で正当化してる自分がいますけど、でそれの上で今回のこうやっとこう日にちを決めて、それがもう明日になったんで、ちゃんと伝えて、それぞれのこう次のステップに行けるように、さらにデビューメンバー候補はもっとこうさらなるこうデビューへのこういろんなことをしていきたいです。貴重なデータになってほしいです。こういうのダサいですよね。
Oh, that was cordial. I have a feeling we're gonna find the equivalents of me in Simon. Gosh, Simon is so similar to how I would say stuff. You hear the word justifying things in a good way? Have you not heard me say that? Oh, I do like the theme in the newspapers.
지금은 엑스갤럭스라는 이름으로 이름이 형성이 됐는데 원래는 엑스갤럭시였습니다. 그대로.
Galaxy.
저희는 사랑과 카리스마를 통해 이 아티스트의 각각의 캐릭터와 팀의 색깔을, 메시지를 전달하는 엑스갤럭시라는 겁니다. 사운드적으로도 되게 저는 되게 와닿아. 저희 회사는 앞으로도 아티스트를 발굴해서 양성해내서 제작하는 그런 브랜드, 그런 아이덴티티가 담겨있는 이름입니다.
So what we're watching is just it's a case study, like what you see researchers do. This is a research case study. Does this process in these ways, does this work? And that's Simon is the front runner in making sure this case study works. Jurin! Whoa, 15!
幼い頃からやっていて、こう自分がプロっていう目標があったんですけど、そこをこう12歳の時に達成して、自分がそこからこうどんなことをやりたいかなってすごい本当に考えた時に、なんかガールズグループでまだやったことないものを表現するのってすごいかっこいいなと思って、その時絶対私ここでデビューしたいっていうふうに思いを決めました。
ハービーエイミです。中学2年生の14歳です。よろしくお願いします。
そうですね、モデルとして活動をずっとさせていただいてたんですけど、私自身も何か新しいものをなんか始めたいなってすごい思ったし、誰もやったことのないことをすごいやりたいっていう気持ちが強くなって、それに一番当てはまってたのがこの X ギャラクスの、プロジェクトのオーディションで絶対やりたいですっていう意思を伝えさせていただきました。
秋山ここな11歳です。よろしくお願いします。
これだってすごいなんか運命を感じたのがこの XG っていうプロジェクトであって、やっぱり小さい頃からダンスと歌とラップに触れ合ってきたし、すごい音楽が好きな分すごいドキドキしたプロジェクトっていうのがすごい初めてだったから、もう運命だって思って、これだって思って参加するきっかけになりました。
上田ジュリアです。中学1年生の12歳です。
とあるオーディションがあるよっていう風に聞いて、小さい頃から夢でやった世界的なアーティストになるっていうこの夢を叶えたくて、で、X ギャラクスはもうその私の夢とすごくぴったりなところだったので X ギャラクスに入らせていただきました。
川内真也、小学6年生の11歳です。よろしくお願いします。
自分があんまりオーディションを受けるタイプではなくて、ちょっとチャレンジすることがちょっと怖かったんですけど、その初めて聞いた時に、いやもうこれ本当に絶対オーディション受けて絶対合格してやるっていう風に思ったのを覚えてます。なんか結構今までにないぐらい革新的にこのプロジェクトだっていう風に思ったんです。自分の人生のプロジェクトがこれだっていう風にパッて思って、なんかすごいそこで一気に自分の火がついたなっていう風に思います。
そうなりなたです。15歳です。よろしくお願いします。
近所のダンススクールに通っていたんですけど、そこでスタッフさんがテストみたいなのがあるから受けてみないって声かけてくださって、それが実は XT のオーディションで母とも話し合って、やっぱりやりたいっていうことを伝えて。
I'm very curious what they were looking for at this audition. I wonder if they're going to tell us. Because that's part of that's going to be part of this whole I'm training that this is a whole experience
合格したいっていう気持ちが大き
to
くて、
blast through it.
もうその日のために生きてきたぐらいの気持ちだったので、そうですね、もう受かりたいって気持ちでいっぱいでした。
21 girls.
네, 일단 제가 한국에서 이제 아이돌 활동하고 그리고 이제 작가 활동하면서 2016년 정도쯤에 뭔가 좀 새로운 그런
God, this is so
음악적인 일을 하고
weird
싶다라는
seeing
생각이 들었었는데
the timeline on this. It's
아티스트
really cool.
팀을 좀 제작을 하고 싶다라는 꿈이 있었는데
되게 거창하게 될 수는 있는데 제가 세상에서 본 적이 없는, 그러니까 유일무이한 그런 팀을 좀 제작을 하고 싶었고, 그렇게 돼서 XG라는 팀을 제작을 하는 X갤럭시라는 프로젝트를 시작을 하게 된 거가
Okay,
경위인 것
I
같습니다.
need to say something about Simon. So like I said, I have a feeling I'm going to be Team Simon in all of this. Like, I'm going to be a fan of this man right here. I mean, XG is great and all, but Simon, people don't understand the amount of grit and perseverance you have to persevere and pull through, like, what this man has had to do. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so... I love the fact that he had an idea and he's pursuing it all the way through. This really reminds me, for me, I have a significantly smaller scale, but I do have my own dance collective called Lineage Dance Collective, and we just, as of like this week, we did our very first collaboration project. And so maybe at the end of this documentary, I will, for Patreon, I will post my lineage analysis and like walk you guys through I'll have my own Simon moment and talk about, you know, my own project and release it out to Patreon, and then in a little bit I'll post it onto YouTube. But the timeline he gives, like 2016, he's, you know, for him, he's like, I came up with a project called XG. I want it to be a group, something that people I've never seen before, that really resonates with me in particular because where I live in America. So whenever people think America, they think LA, or when they think the dance scene, they think Kinjas and Kappa Modern and Company and Choreo Cookies and a lot of the choreographers that choreograph for K-pop groups, and like Sienna, who I know a lot of people have said she's heavily affiliated as a resident, like not there as a choreographer, but she does a lot of choreography for XG. She's with the lab, you know, so that all that's West Coast. So where I am is in the southeast of the US. So I would say a really big city that could, you know, have a cruise like what you've seen is I would say in Florida with Motive, with Marley Hightower, and then in Atlanta you would have, and then there's also what is it? Oh, I forgot their name. Name escapes me. Anyway, but I'm saying like there's a couple crews that happen in Orlando and Atlanta. I'm from Alabama, you know, so I don't know if you guys know this because I have a lot of people that are from all over the world. Alabama is a state that is known for, we have a sport in America called college football. So football in the rest of the world is what we call soccer, but in America it's a different shaped football. We have a whole professional league. It's very, very patriotic sport in our country. And so in Alabama specifically, we do not have a professional team after people graduate college. We have college football teams, and we have two teams in particular in our state that are huge rivals, and one of them is one of the most well-known college football teams ever to exist, called Alabama Crimson Tide. And so all that to say, where I live, I also live in one of the most dense engineering capitals of the world. We have NASA, Boeing, Dynetics, so many different aerospace. A lot of classified stuff goes on in my city. I'll put it that way. And a lot of government contracting. So as you can tell, there's not quite as much room for the fine arts as there are for athletics in the realm of the football and basketball and baseball and engineering. So the focus is not as much on the fine arts. So all that to say, there really isn't crews like Kenja or anything like that exists where I am at all. After you graduate, you go to college or you move off to these big cities to make it for yourself. So for me, I made Lineage to basically be a stepping stone or give people a safe enough, a collective of other people who are artists who really want to bridge the gap between street culture and studio culture, because there are differences and there's a bridge that needs to have more connections made to represent both. I think both need to be more understanding of each other and more collaborative with each other. And that's my calling, is to help with that. But also it allows people to be able to be a part of projects like what I just filmed recently, and have connections with others from all parts of the Southeast, where if you need a place to stay, if you want to do a project, you have a pool of people that you can ask for advice and guidance from, or actually ask them to be a part of your project. For me, if I have a teaching gig and I need assistance for it, I'm going to ask my girls from Lineage first. It basically just gives dancers who, I don't want them to feel like they have to move off to make something for themselves. They can build connections and grow and be successful in the craft they choose to pursue without having to compromise their morals and values and their safety for the sake of clout, as well as having to go off somewhere and be by themselves and isolate themselves and have a higher risk of falling into the wrong crowd of people in the industry, because it's so dangerous, especially when you're really young adult. So I really resonate a lot with the calling of wanting to make something and to see how it goes, and something that hasn't quite been done before. Now, do I think Lineage is some, for me, is that something that's never been done before? I don't know. I can't attest to it. They may not be the only group that has tried to do this. This is just the one that they've made it, so there's a lot to note with that. But all that to say, I really resonate with the mindset that Simon has, because even though mine's considered more small scale, the intention behind it is the same. So I very much appreciate how we get to see his thought process in all of this, not just the girls being selected, because I think that's what I'm gonna tailor most of my feedback towards, is how Simon is going on and through all of this. And I think this is absolutely wild. I wasn't expecting this at all, and you guys already saw I was so teary-eyed in that prologue. So seeing this here, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Team Simon has to bring to the table.
みんなスタジオで集合しようか。音楽聴かせてあげるから。全然決まってないんですけど、ギャラクシーこういう音楽の方向っていうのをちょっとイメージできるような、ちょっといくつかの自分が作ったストックを聞いてください。はい。
선발하는데도 되게 많은 시간과 많은 고민을 하게 되었고, 그 과정에서 제가 음악을 만들었어요. 친구들을 만나면서 많은 인스피레이션 받았고.
はじめまして、韓国から来たサイモンです。お願いします。
아티스트를 꿈꾸는, 혹은 모델이나 이런 댄서를 꿈꾸는, 아니면 보컬리스트 솔로를 꿈꾸는 이런 친구들을 정말 많이 봤기 때문에 너무나 제 마음도 설레어 있었고, 그래서 거기서 많은 에너지와 인스피레이션을 받고 얻고 이제 썼던 곡이었습니다.
全身鳥肌が立っていつか絶対これ歌うって思いながら、その宇宙空間みたいな感じの曲だったなってことをすごく覚えていて、
Wonder what song it was.
こんな曲を自分ができるんだと思ったら早く踊りたくて歌いたくてしょうがなかったのを覚えてます。
一度も聞いたことがないすっごい新しい音楽で、
もう完全に X ギャラクスっぽいっていう風に紹介したのを覚えてます。
もうついていきますっていう気持ちです。聴いた後もずっと頭に残る曲で、もうこの曲なら世界を奪えるぞって思いました。
그런 생각이 들고, 이 XG뿐만이 아니라 X갤럭시라는 회사 자체에 좀 의미 있는 곡인 것 같아요. 제 개인적으로도 굉장히 의미가 있는 곡이고. 네.
これはあくまでもデモなんですね。パワフルでもできる、柔らかくもできる、そういう本当にいい声帯を持てるのが今の10代の時期です。20代になってからはもっと時間かかるし、なのでお願いします。はい。
Why don't they tell us what song it was? I'm really curious about that. Was it Tippy Toes? Was it one that hasn't been released yet and we're waiting until they're older, like in their 20s? Like he referenced? I don't know.
普通にあれ転校で？そう。
元気出るね。
普通の高校だった？ねえジェリーも
入る思った。入る。足して。オッケー。はい、すぐ入って。いや、これいける。
Oh,
足の裏若干きつめだね。
it's getting a bit tight. Yeah, whenever you fit 6 people.
ごめん、勝手に階段取った。階段取っていい？いいよ、なんかできるんだ。
入ってます。
We're learning Korean, it looks like.
全員寮にいる人、なんか決してみんなが料理する、パーティーするために買い物行ってるわけじゃないからね。みんなさ、楽にして時こそ責任感を持って緊張感を自分たちでキープした方がいいと思うよ。その寮のお風呂場ってさ、みんなでそうやってサングラスかけて写真撮るとこねえ、それをあげる神やって間違ってない。絶対リスペクトされないやつなんだよ。そういうのはちゃんと考えてないなっていうのがバレちゃう。そういう写真1枚で
もうダサいんだよ。尊敬できなくなる。応援できなくなるの。
I know what he's saying can come across as very harsh, but I can... So, okay. Would I say this to my group of kids? No. When you think about the sensitivity of the type of project this is like being very honest with you. This is a research case study that's being conducted by Simon or his team, and he's received a green light by some higher up to some degree potentially. I don't know who is cash rolling this. I don't know any of that information, and that's fine. But what we know is the person who's in charge of this is Simon, right? So he has the heaviest responsibility to make sure it is conducted as proficiently as possible, as efficiently as possible, because they are factoring in and they're researching a lot of things with this. How successful is the group XG going to be after they debut? You can't really know that until you look at, okay, how is the best way of training these girls going to be in the most practical, with what age groups are going to be the best to train for how long. Also note too, that all of this is happening before 2020. What happened in 2020? The whole world shut down. So there's a lot of really big things that are going to be happening that are probably may get showcased in the documentary, not sure. I also don't know when their original projection of the debut was going to be. Was it going to be in 2020, and that can affect what age they would have been when they debut, and that would have refined my original thoughts of the group, because you guys know me, I would prefer to see a group have most if not all members past, like, be adults whenever they debut, because of a lot of really toxic and negative things that happen when you have children or underaged performers in the public eye. It's a very different ball game. So him making this point is he's not coming at it from the lens that I would come at it from, because I'm not in his shoes. And if I were in his position, I can really empathize and understand where he's coming from here, because when you think about it, people dig. Just like you alphas, you guys have dug and looked up lots of things about this group in a brilliant and great way. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it, but there's a double-edged sword that can come with it. Negative things can be dug up as well. There's scandals and so many things that have come up with a lot of K-pop groups that have resulted in members having to leave. I think there was a very recent case at the time that I'm recording this. There was a situation with Rise. I do know at Les Serafim's debut, there was an issue with one of the members. Actors, even no matter how high a caliber their stardom is, a bullying case can send them straight down the drain on their career. So for him, a lot of these girls are young. All of them are young at this time. You know what I mean? And so him referencing this and saying, is it appropriate for you in the bathroom of the dorm of a project that I'm conducting for the next 5 years? Is it appropriate for you to stand there with sunglasses and have a party in the dorm? Is that the intention of this project? No. And people are not going to take you seriously because he sees long-term. He's already been in the public eye. He also wasn't a part of an astronomically popular group. He was a part of a group called Dalmatian. They were not a group that was deemed overly successful. You know, they may have had some successes, but they're not deemed like, they're not the same as Big Bang or 21 or Block B or a lot of other groups. I'm assuming they were around the Gen 2 era based on their hair and based on context of it. Does that make sense? And so I'm saying all of this he's saying this, and they have to not only learn the realm of what they're going to have to be held accountability wise, because he's already been on the receiving end of it, and he knows what can happen if things are not kept in check or they are not protected. He has a responsibility to protect them. And that's a really good way to do that, is letting them know the weight of what they do now, how heavy it can carry over into the future. They don't see 5 years down the road the way Simon does, you know? And so I think it's really important that you have to be stern on certain things, and I think he has every right to be stern about that, because this is a 5-year, it's a long project, and there's a lot of things being calculated by this. And could one photo in the bathroom really deter or turn people away from them when it's already going to be an uphill battle, right? Those are the little things. They're not even going to be they're not qualified. They're not even going to be placed in a particular category. K-pop, J-pop, they're X-pop, right? And so for him, he is already factoring in all of these things in his head, and he has to be responsible for making sure that they grow up and experience the proper life experience to survive in the professional world at the age that they are when they debut. Does that make sense? So I 1,000% understand what he's saying. Does it come across as being harsh? Yes. Do I understand why he has to say that and place that level of expectation and understanding there? Yes. Because these are not regular girls anymore once they are doing this. Yes, they're people, but they're not, their job, it is a job that comes with certain prerequisites and certain expectations that come along with it. It's a job scope. Just like for a job, when you're interviewed for a job, you're going to be looked at, your social media gets looked at least in my case, when you look at a corporate job, they'll look at your social media. If you have negative things that can promote the company in a negative light, they may not consider you regardless of how good you are. And that's what he's trying to help avoid. You know what I mean? So there may be times where Simon may be a bit out of pocket, maybe because of his emotional investment. I've been there. I'm still there. And sometimes that's life. And he's a human too. But also so far, I really understand Simon, because once again, I'm an adult and I'm in the position more so, like, I experience things that I do in my life more on the lens of how Simon's approaching this than how the girls are participating in it, if that makes sense. So all that to say, does it seem like he's being harsh? Yes. Do I understand it? 1,000%. A few days later. They're all gonna post it at the same time. I love it. Oh, I love that. That's cute. Rank 2. Ooh, hold on. Let me see this. So, candidate list. Rank 2. Ari, Chisa, Kokona, Hannah, Harvey, Karuhina, Yui, Ray, Maya, Maju, Risa, Rina, Jurin, Hinata, Asha, Rino, Juria, Rian. Rank 3, rank next. So I'm curious what the next means. But what's nice is I know all the members. So we have there. She's a member. Chisa, Kokona's a member. We have Maya's a member. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Who's my 7th? Oh my gosh, Jess. 1, 2, 3. Sorry about that. Hold on. Why can't I count? 1, 2. Yeah, am I missing someone? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I got them all now. I wonder if they'll explain that. Training camp. Thank you for having us.
스트레칭 오늘 대충 하면 괜찮아요. 다운하고 업 형식이 구분이 돼야죠. 이건 그냥 편하게 리듬 타는 거예요. 이건 누구나 해. 누구나 다 하는 거 하면 남보다 특별해질 수 없잖아.
That is also true.
다운하고 억실하게 이거 보내.
もう今までに受けたことない厳しくて辛い、もう自分との戦い、もうメンタル、もうフィジカリー、もう全部辛かったですけど、今思ったら本当にやってよかったって思います。それがなかったら今の自分がいないなって本当に思うくらいすごい重要なトレーニング期間だったし、トレーニングだったと本当に心から思います。
いやもうめちゃめちゃハードで、本当にハードで、こうメンタル的にもすごいこう来たというか、鍛えられたしというか、一緒にやってるメンバーとかこう受けている子たちがこう真横でもう次の日レッスンに来れなくなったりとか、すごいいい意味でショッキングというか、すごい刺激しかなかったです。
今も忘れられないくらい
悔しい思いでもうめちゃくちゃいっぱいでした。
まあ
Age 16.
조금 감동을 먹은 거는 뭐 쓰러진 것까지는 난 잘 모르겠고 일어난 것 자체가 일단 나는 일어나서 방송 한게 너무 좋았어 일단. 그리고 마야 너무 어떻게든 하려고 하는 게 너무 좋았고 잊어버리지 마.
Mm.
韓国合宿をまず言います。韓国合宿を行くメンバーは今のところ4名です。今日皆さん変更可能性があると思って頑張ってください。
はい。
マヤ。
お願いします。
안 틀리게 다시 할 수 있다.
みんなやりたくない？やりたくない？やりたくない？じゃあさっきなんで自信ある人って言ってなかった？俺だったら間違えても出たよ、そこがみんなのレベルなの分かる。僕はみんなを2年後に、本当に誰にも負けないチームを作ってるのしか考えてない人として
2 years.
すごく今日は失望です。2年後って遠く感じるでしょ。あっという間で本当に。
Okay, pause. Okay, so this is 20. So they would have debuted 2020 based on the timeline of this. So now I have some notes to share. I'm very thankful that they did not debut until when they did, because for me, you guys we've already mentioned it in the pre-debuts and stuff like that. Very mindful of underage performance. I really think that teetering into the really young, like 13, and I know some of them are like 12, like Kokona, based on his timeline, she would have been like 14, 15 at time of debut. I really think that may not have been the best in terms when you just think about just like if you're looking at this, because I'm approaching this like a research case study, regardless if he is or not, that's essentially what this is in the dance world. And I really like it and I'm a fan of it. That would be a factor because for me, I am a natural auditor at heart. That is something that I take a look, try to find discrepancies in things. That's what makes my analysis come across the way that they do. There's always areas that could be refined and looked at to potentially refine to make that more practical for future. And I know that this is what this is. It's a project to see, will this work, right? So part of me is that is the, having a postponement of their debut, which is what I think happened, was probably the best thing to happen for them because there's a lot of things that changed from 2020 to 2021 on a technological forefront, as well as how you present yourself on media has changed dramatically from 2019 until 2021. It is like night and day, That time period, nobody could have predicted that. So it really is a huge thing. I'm very appreciative personally, just as an educator, that we didn't have them as XG as young as the original projected time that they were supposed to debut. So that's my first little note. That for me, if they do choose to do a project like this again, I would hope that either the training period, they need to glean or pick an age range where by the time that they're ready to debut, it's going to be like the 16. Like that for me, I feel like 16 and older. But personally, my ideal, they're an adult and up, there's just a lot of factors that go into that. I just think it's just safer all around for somebody to be an adult in general.
審査会から説明会からもうほぼ1年経ってんだよ。じゃあ今日はこれで終わりです。お疲れ様です。
I've said that kind of thing to my kids before, where it's like, I'm a bit disappointed. You have to learn how to fight for it, because also know this too, Simon has to find people that are willing to persevere, not in the same ways as him, because he's technically the leader of them. Like, he has to lead by example in that perseverance, which he is very, very well doing. But what's interesting about this is that they also have to, just like when you notice with now the members, like when they're talking through, they're like, I wanted to do this. Like, this sounds like a project that I want to commit my life to. I know it sounds dramatic, but you have to have people you have to have a whole team like that. And if you have people that aren't going to mesh in that way, then your team's not going to be as successful, or it's not going to be a successful project. And for me, a really great example of this is there was, I think it was last year, I had a group, it was a group routine. It's on my YouTube, it's called Hide and Seek. Now, is it the most incredible routine in the world? No. It is a very important routine to exist on the competition stage for me, because it is a routine that does not get done on competition stages. Nor have I really ever had a group of dancers like who I had in that space be as committed to a project or that type of routine like I experienced that year. Does that make sense? So I really empathize with that, and I understand the value of what you have to look for. If you want a team to be successful, you have to find players of that team that are going to contribute to the success, which means they have to not exactly match Simon's energy of perseverance, but they have to be able to persevere and take what he says and be able to apply it as a part of their direction within the project. And that's something that they're probably have been analyzing this entire time. Which kids have the character, or who have the foundation of that grit, because that is the determining factor of success and goals being met. Is not natural talent, it is grit. So even if certain dancers or their singing or their performance side has been lacking since the beginning, they can measure how their progress was, or how they take on the information and grow from point A to point B in a timeline. That's why it takes time. So you can see and guesstimate, like, you'll be able to find out, okay, this is an individual that will be able to meet the goals that we want to set as a team, because they have that perseverance that they've already demonstrated competency in to make it happen. These people here, it is their job to teach the girls what they need to know. The girls, there's certain things that they have to be able to do that are really difficult or honestly impossible to teach. But what all the adults of the team have to do is they have to look and discern and figure out who is going to be the ones that can handle what the future of this group is going to be, project that out, as well as move forward and calibrate. And there's just so many moving pieces to this. And this is so fascinating. This is a case study that we're watching right now. And I am enthralled by this. This is awesome. Because you have documentation. This is documentation of it, you know? It's a freaking thesis in video form. 2018. Yeah, so they're projecting to want to do it in 2020. So glad they waited until, I think it's 2022 is when they debuted, right? February.
はい、先生。その前に伝えたいことがあって。昨日は誰も集中してなくて、振りすら覚えてなくて。なんか先生たちを本当に困らせてしまって悲しませてしまって、本当に申し訳ありませんでした。
Wow.
で、昨日と今日でみんなしっかり考え直して、本気で挑むって決めたので、もう一度見てください。お願いします。お願いします。
Wow. Oh, so they're all doing the same choreography.
なんていうんですか、嬉しかったっていう感情がもう選ばれたからやばい、本当にマヤ人生かけて頑張らないとこれやばいぞっていう風にすごい思ってたのをめっちゃ思い出します。もう結構みんなもバチバチだったので、しかも行けなかった子たちのことも考えた時にすごいその子たちのためにも頑張ろうっていう風には思ってたけど、もう自分に精一杯だったっていうのが正直あって、死ぬ気で頑張るしかないねマヤっていう。
Oh, we got a whole criteria spreadsheet. Here we go. X-Galax. Members are ranked 3, 2, 1, and 0. 0 being debut status. The debut is not the goal, but the starting line. Ooh. 0, artist. 1, debut candidate. 2, trainee tier 1. 3, next Galax, trainee tier 2. 0, okay. See, this is what I needed. Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh, I can just write it down. Please hold. It's going to give me a second. I'm going to write this down. Okay. There's something at the bottom I need to see. It says, ranks are updated constantly, always with the possibility that some members may not make it. So they're saying that 0, the debut is not the goal. So meaning that 0, 0 should be the baseline. Before you, if that's so interesting. Man, talk about high expectations. But at least I appreciate how thorough this is. Selection announcement. Here we go.
まずは03。アーシャとアマネ、リノ、リオン、ヒカル、ジュリア。
Julia is in number 3.
今回呼ばれたのは本当に期待をしているからです。でもジャッジは冷静にトライにしていきます。
They have to be. They have to be.
아티스트가 되고자 하는 그런 열정이라고 해야 될까요? 그
Perseverance and grit's what that means.
열정, 간절한 마음, 그리고 네, 근성 같은 그런 거를 좀 제일 중요하게 봤던.
What I say? What did I say? They have to have that.
그냥 아티스트가 되고 싶어요라는 친구들은 굉장히 많아요. 근데
There's no follow
정말
through.
이렇게 어떻게 보면은
Oh, I'm getting chills right now. God, yeah.
생각보다 힘든 일일 텐데.
Team Simon, guys. I'm a fan of Simon.
할 수 있는 그런 의지를 판단하기가 좀 힘들었었던 것 같아요. 그러니까
Yes.
그게 되게 어려웠었던 것 같아요.
Yes.
네.
Can we just take a second? The fact that I just said what I said, and then he said what he said. Oh, I got chills. Oh, that makes me feel so encouraged. That like I'm definitely looking at this from the lens that I am, because I mean, goodness gracious. Does Simon have a fan club?
はい
は、03です。
03, which means it's trainee tier 2.
ひな、ハンナ、一旦03に落とそうとしてます。
So they're also dropped to 3.
本当はね、いろんな課題があったの。もっとボーカルのところを集中してできるようにあえて落としました。
Feels devastating.
でもまさかひなとハンナが行けなくなるっていうのは思わなかったんですね。本当に想像もしてなかったので、もちろんびっくりしたっていうのもあったし、なんかもう行けなかった分本当に自分たちが行ってまた戻ってきた時にその全部教えてあげるからっていう風に言ったのをちょっと覚えてます。
自分のその態度だったりとか、そのなんていうの、受ける姿勢、レッスンを受ける姿勢だったりとかがちょっと曲がってるっていうのをサイモンさんから教えていただいて、本当にその自分を改めて反省する時間になって。
That's what he's looking for. What do you do when you're given results that you don't like? What do you do in that moment? Your fight or flight gets picked.
すいません、落ちてしまった子とかもいるのも分かってるから、次01に上がれるように毎日人一倍努力してみんなに追いつけるように頑張ります。本当になんか学ぶことが
Jordan is
お
ranked
客さん
2
と気
here.
づくことも
Our leader is ranked 2.
ちょっと昨日とか今日も一緒にずっと一緒にやってた友達っていうか仲間がやっぱ失敗することを忘れないで自分と常に向き合って毎日毎日自分が変われてるように頑張りたいなと思います。これからもう今まで以上に努力しないと自分の今実力もまだまだだしもう本当に頑張ろうと思いました。
제가 지향하는 그룹은 심플하게는 캐릭터, 그러니까 인격인 것 같아요. 마인드랑 인성, 비전을 갖고 있고 명확하게 자기의 그런 메시지가 있으면서 한 나라에 국한되지 않은 그런 글로벌한 감성이라든가 이런 것들을 겸비한 아티스트 그룹이고요.
Very inclusive mindset to have. Very accepting mindset.
어떠한 문화든
But you have to be very meticulous.
사랑을 받을 수 있고
Very meticulous in how you pick people to do this
다른
project.
사람들에게 용기와 희망, 즐겁게 해줄 수 있는 그런 아티스트 그룹을 제일 중요하게 제가 생각하고 지향합니다. 네.
The member announcements.
発表します。全員15名観光合宿行きます。
Wow. Okay. Let me pause. All right, so he says all 15 of you are going to Korea. So notice that all of them are at rank 2, which technically means that they are trainee tier 1. So if you were dropped to 3, that means that you have to basically, you are not going to be eligible to continue in the project is what it's coming across. We need you to refine what you need, but there's still, I have a feeling we have other projects that are currently and actively in the works, even though XG is debuted. This feels like this was a prototype for it. They're going to continue to integrate and refine the process. So these girls that we saw here, that even if they don't make it, we may see them in the future, especially if they were dropped to 3. There's no reason for them to give up. Does that make sense? That's kind of what it's giving right now. So it's interesting. Okay, so we have all 7 of our members that we know that are here, but it's 15. So over half are not going to make it to the end. Korea training camp.
스태프분들이랑 공항을 올 때 이거를
Shot a video and told the staff to show it to the members on the way to the airport.
영상을 찍어서
What did you do, Simon? What did you
그때
tell them?
도착하자마자 미션이 시작됐고
Ah, okay.
まず1チームずつ1人メンバーを外してください。
What? Oh, this is a trailer.
はい。じゃあいいです。明日ミッションをさせていきないの。
Whoa. Whoa. This is going to be
辛い
interesting.
んだよ。だってみんなが頑張る分他の子たちも頑張ってるからみんなが上手くなったら他の子たちがもっと上手くなってる。3位のチームは、もうトレーニングから、ミッションから外します。
Whoa. This feels more cutthroat than the survival shows. Wow. Ooh, boy. Wow. Oh, this is so intriguing just seeing them, just seeing the process, and of course how they frame and edit the episodes and things. I'm very intrigued on how this next episode will work. Because remember, he probably has a number in mind. He probably, you have groups like 17 who operate with 13, and then you have groups that operate out of 4 or 5. 7 is deemed like the 7 to 8s are typically like your go-to number that typically does pretty well, where you have that look of being a fairly larger group, but you have more of that individualized intention. Normally the 7 to 8s, fun fact, large groups in studio competitions start, I believe, at 9, like a group of 9 or more. So the teetering to 7 or 8 is really where a lot of small groups at competition like to hang out, because you still get the appearance of a large group, but you qualify and showcase that intimacy if you so choose to have it. So this has made me so very curious, and this is turning into something that could potentially be very binge-worthy, but in order for me to, I feel like, have a healthy, being able to like separate for half a day or something and to come back and watch, I think is really good for me personally, so I don't just binge all of it in one go, and whatever emotion I receive from a particular episode, I don't want to carry that through all the other episodes. I want to be able to have, if something does happen and I have an emotional reaction to it, I want to be able to disconnect for a little bit, because that'd be healthier for me to come back to it, to potentially be able to see it in a more objective viewpoint, because I think that would be the most fair thing in this position of being able to actually react to it as somebody who's in the dance industry. But honestly, as somebody who is, which is shocking for me to even say this, I am not Simon, but a lot of things that I do in my life, or that I pursue, or that I have a calling to, or projects that I am actively doing, are things that I can empathize with Simon on. His is just on a way bigger scale that involves more money, more people, more influence, and more moving parts. Does that make sense? So I'm very intrigued about the next episode, though.